Hi, this is Audrey with the Creator's Attic. I wanted to show a simple idea. I had a brainstorm and it was late yesterday evening and I had to go to bed. So I figured I'd save it for today. So here it is. A lot of us junk journal people and other scrapbookers, collage folks out there love to use, and so on, love to use these vintage seed packets in our journals. And I have seen quite a few have seen quite a few of these around, and most of the times people will either use them as like a pocket, or they will just put them in as added ephemera or glue them on a page or something like that. Now that's all well and good, but a lot of times we don't have access to these. So I was thinking yesterday evening, I don't even need seed packets to have my own seed packets, because I was just thinking about ordering some coin envelopes last night, and this just brought on the whole idea of I can make those. I can make seed packets. I can make coin envelopes, and you can. If you have, this is just a scrap piece of copy paper that I have. I'm going to grab my pencil, but you don't have to have that. Basically, all you need is something that will adhere, something to cut with, and a piece of paper. Okay, if you have these three things, you're set. I'm going to put in the idea of using this makes it what makes it so easy. I've seen other people make seed packets, coin envelopes, whatever, and they're some great ideas, but I've never seen them made like this, and that was what my brainstorm was about. And I'm going to use this probably for some drawing some lines, but you'll quickly figure out what you need and what you don't need. So to start out, I'm going to take my piece of paper, and it's a little uneven up here, but that's okay. I can straighten that out. But I know that these sides are at right angles, so this, at least three sides of this are straight. Okay. So first of all, I need to determine how big I want my seed packet to be. So first of all, let's see. Let's make one. The only thing that will limit your seed size packet will be how long your paper width is. So pretty much this one can be, I think this is 8.5 inches across, so this one can be, remember that we'll probably need to tuck over a little bit, so this one could be if we were to do this in half, this would be 4.25 inches. So just keep in mind, we would probably, it would be about 4 and a little more than 4 inches wide, and then however high we cut it, however tall your paper would be. Okay, so let's just hop to it. First of all, I'm going to show you how simple and easy this is to make. So first of all, I'm going to take this piece of paper, and I'm just going to make sure, for my own well-being and my own sanity, that I'm just going to cut this top off to make this an even piece of paper. So I'm working with an even piece of paper, an even rectangle that measures the same all the way around. Okay. So next, we're just going to make this from, what size is this? I'm sure you're wondering. It is about 6.25 inches, and it is, I don't think I want it over 4 inches across, so I'm going to cut it down to 6 inches, and then that way I know, a little over 6 inches, maybe 6.25, and then that way I know that it will be it will be about a good 3 inches wide. Okay. Now, I can fiddle with the height later, but I want to get the basic construction down first. The first thing you want to do is this. You want to fold your paper and get about center ways, and just allow for just a part. You don't need very much, just a smidge of that to be, let me see if I can get you any closer so you can see. Just a smidge of this piece of paper. Okay, first of all, you know that if you start with straight lines, if you start with straight lines, you know that if you line up your edges, that they will align straight. Secondly, you can just go for about middle. So let's just go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and match up my sides here. And then I'm going to bring this one over just a little bit longer than this one because I'm going to adhere this together with some glue. So give it just a tiny bit enough to where you can adhere it with glue, but we're not going to adhere with glue yet. So I'm just going to go up about like, whoops, go up about like that. All right, so this is what we should have. One side should be a little bit longer than the other one. Okay, so you can see that we have that. Okay, but we're not gluing yet. All right, the second thing you need to do this very quickly is I have one of these punches, and I have it has a 10 millimeter, a 4 millimeter, and a 7 millimeter on it. And these are very inexpensive. You can get them online on Amazon for probably $5 or $6. I think that's about all this one was. We Are Memory Keepers also makes a great one, but I wore mine out. So anyway, okay. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this one so I can put stuff in it as a pocket. So I'm not going to worry about this side. I'm just going to worry about, let me back you up a little bit now. I'm just going to worry about this side. So I'm not gluing yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off just a little bit, however much I want. I can even go ahead and do this. I'm going to just figure out about how much I want of my bottom to come up on my seed packet. All right, so I have about this much. You can just decide. We're not doing it this way. I'm just looking to see. Okay, so I want about that much. So the first thing I'm going to do is, now that I've given myself a line, I'm just going to come in here with my ruler just for straightness. Now that I know about how much I want my bottom to be bent, to turn up, it's up to you. I'm going to attempt to draw a somewhat straight line across. Okay, and now I'm going to unfold the paper so that it looks like this. Let me see if I can get you any further away. Okay, so now that I have my two lines, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to cut exactly on those lines up to the fold. So do that and do this. Okay, and that was not quite on. I am left-handed, so, but I cut right-handed. But I may need to go to my left hand. My right hand seems to be a little unsteady this evening, or maybe it's the light. Just blame it on. Maybe it's just old age. But I'm just gonna go up and just do this. And I just want this to be accurate. Okay, so I have this now. So I have these two little flappies. Well, since I've already folded my lines, I did not cut that extremely straight, very straight. Okay, anyway, you get the point. So, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to follow the line that we bent, and that's all we have to do is just cut off on that line. So I'm gonna cut that side. And then I'm just going to cut this side along that fold. Okay, now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide how much of my top I want folded over. Now, I have not finished my bottom. I'm just doing the same thing with my top so I can just keep it in, just keep the same idea going at once. Okay, so I am going to do my fold, and I'm going to match my corners, and that's how I want my top. Remember, you're not going to want to cut this part. You're just going, the back part. You're just going to want to cut the part that folds out. And I'm going to do this a little bit so I can kind of see my line a little bit better on my fold line, because my light is kind of casting a glare, and it's making it harder for me to see. So I'm just going to make a little pencil line. Okay, and remember we're only cutting up to the fold. So cut up to the fold and cut on the fold like that. And then we're going to do like this and do the same thing. Didn't get it all the way out. Oh, I didn't even cut this part yet. Okay. All right, and then we're going to cut to here. Ooh, I didn't cut to quite to there, did I? Okay, I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. If they're not exactly right, I would rather have, it's okay on the corners because we're going to be cutting those off anyway. Okay, so what I want to do next is I'm going to use the magic of this little, we're going to use all three sides of these, okay? So first of all, this is the top of my packet, and this is the bottom. First of all, I want to make my bottom. Now, I can always just do like that, but I want it to look like a seed packet. So I'm going to take my 7mm side, and I'm going to flip it over so I can make sure I have the entire corner in there. And I'm just going to chop the two corners off that, I'm going to chop the two corners off. See how I open this up? You don't have to open it up, but I'm going to close it just so I can. And remember, we just have one piece of paper left there. Now, so we have this, and now, voila, we have the bottom of our ink pack. Let me back you up. Okay, let's see if I can get you a little further away. Okay, so I want to do a little bit of inking. I just want to ink it up real quick, and I have Gathered Twigs here, Gathered Trigonometry Distress Ink. Yeah, that's it. Gathered Twigs Ranger Distress Ink. And my brown dauber has decided to take a hiatus for the evening. I'm probably on the floor or something, so I'm just going to use my, nope, this is my brown dauber. No, I don't know. I guess my brown did disappear for the evening. Oh well, we're going to bring out black, but I'm going to put it in this brown. I want to ink up the edge of my white piece of paper here that I have. And just so I can show you a little bit more of the definition that I have. And I don't need to do the other side of the flap because remember it's going to be hiding underneath this other one. Okay, and I can do the edges now of this one if I want to. And I'm just doing this with white paper to show you that it can be done with just simple copy paper if you don't have a lot of supplies. So I'm just going to ink it like this for now. Do a little bit of what's called, I've heard called cheater inking here. Just going to go a little bit more on the sides. And you can do any color of ink that you want to emphasize. So, you know, maybe this one's been in a, I don't know, I would say a dusty barn, but this paper is very white. So, I don't know, maybe the paper's been covered up very well and kept away from sunlight. I don't know. Anyway, you figure that one out. Okay, so basically now I'm going to make this part look a little bit neater. So I'm going to, I have not glued anything down. I'm going to open up my little doors again, okay? And these are the sides inside. I'm going to take my 4mm now, my 4mm. And I'm just going to, I flip mine over, like I said, just so I can see make sure the entire corner is in there. And I'm just going to clip the top two edges off on the top. Okay, and so now we have this. Let me ink along the top of these so you can hopefully see these a little bit better. I'm not doing the best inking job here. Kind of getting messy. I'm just doing this as quickly as I can because I want to get on to a couple of other ideas. Okay, so that's the ink side. Okay, so now we have this. Now it is starting to come together. It's starting to look like an ink pack. Now we have to do the top. Here's where I do my 10mm. Do my 10mm, okay? So I take, okay, so this is the part that we're going to see, the back of the seed packet. because I'm going to want to put things in here, I think. But if you wanted to make it a whole one, we can do that as well, like, you know, one that you would just tuck in a pocket. As a matter of fact, that may be what I'm going to do with this one. Okay, because I was going to show you some simple things that you can do without having to use, without having to use your, without having to, sorry, I got something distracted me for a minute. So you can show both sides, okay? So I'm going to show you a little decorating on the back that we can do, that you can do, because I was thinking these don't quite fold up the same way as other coin envelopes or seed envelopes fold up, but that's okay. But I do want to, we can pretend to decorate the front as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our, let me do my ink around the top of this. And since you will be lifting, I will have want my person to be lifting up the flap, or I may have, in case I'm not just clipping it in somewhere. This one, we're going to do both. I'm going to do the back, like I said, I'm going to leave the back so you can see how it's done. And then I'm going to flip it over to the front and show you some decorating ideas in case we wanted to not glue this down as a pocket, but have it as a removable pocket. Okay, so I think I'm going to turn this back too, this flat back a little bit, and I'm just going to ink along there too. Okay, so yes, you can tell I've used my black dauber because my this is coming out so dark. I was like, why is my gathered twigs coming out black? Or it looks dark brown. That's why, duh. Okay. So now I'm ready to adhere. So I may not want to use this to adhere, right? And the thing about it is a lot of times when you get these seed packets, the bottom flap will be opened, but the top flap won't have been opened. I'm not quite sure. Is it a thing to take the seeds out of the bottom of the packet? I mean, I tend to go for just the top and rip them. I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so anyway, I don't know what all goes through everybody's heads when they're opening seed packets, but that's okay. I'm just going to come right along here, along the side with my, this is my art glitter glue. I'm going to come just right along this side, and my pen has kind of rusted in it. So, and I may have wanted to have made this fold just to go over, flap over the other flap just a little bit more, because so I could glue it without having it stick to the, oh, there I go. I glued the wrong end. I meant to glue this one onto this one. Oh, well, I could have done, actually, I'm going to do that. I thought I was doing the other end. This side is probably the safest side to do it on, because I can put the flap that's going over on top of it. Okay. I'm going to smear this just a little bit, and then now I know I can put my other flap down. And if you want to just keep it from drying, you can just stick a little something, like if your glue may want to stick to your inside of your envelope, you can just take something and just stick it down inside of there, just to make sure that glue isn't dry. Now, you can also go along here with washi tape, double-sided tape, or whatever, what have you. So here we go. All right, so I have that just holding my place. All right, now I'm going to come along the bottom, and I'm just going to do this little U shape. You can use any kind of glue for this. And I'm going to glue my bottom of my seed packet, and voila, here's my seed packet. If I wanted to make it look a little bit even more authentic, I could come in, well, not more authentic, but if I wanted to use this as an envelope, I could come in with a hole puncher, and to make it kind of look like one of those envelopes that, like a manila envelope that you mail, you can come along here and here with a hole puncher and punch a hole in here. Okay, there's all kinds of things you can do with these. Now, I'm going to pretend like, let's decorate the front, okay? I believe this is dry enough to do like this. Now I'm going to flip it over. Now let's do the front. Let's say that I don't have anything to use as a I don't have anything to use here. And this is all I have. I just have a piece of paper, and I don't have anything else to decorate. I can't think of anything else to decorate with. I don't have any fancy tools, any of that. Okay, but you do probably have stamps or stickers or something like that. So we could even do it like this. We could take, all right, first of all, you could either, I have some of these little seed packet labels you can order. Could do that. Or like I said, if you're up for not a lot of supplies, you could also use a stamp. So I'm going to grab a stamp real quick. Okay, I have this gorgeous stamp right here. Do you know what kind of flower this is? I'm not quite sure, and I don't think it tells me. This is from Tim Holtz collection too, Stampers Anonymous. Okay, I didn't even know that about the stamp, but okay, so that's what this is. So I'm just going to take some ink, and let's see, I'm going to grab well, let's just say you don't, okay, let's even go this far as to say you don't have any ink, but you may have just regular ink, regular black or brown ink. So let's go with that. We're even going to go as far as to say that we are really starting from scratch. So we put this down and just find this about center. So I'm just going to square it up on my grid here, and then I'm going to try to find center. Oh, I forgot my stamp. I forgot my stamp mat. And well, oh, that's still stamped. Okay, now, all right. Here's something that you could leave it like this. You could even write up here with a pen or a pencil, you know, flower seeds or something like that. Or you can come in with your colored pencils, and you could, and I'm just going to color this quickly, color this in quickly so we can move on to the next, little bit of the next step up. But let's just say I'm just gonna do this. This would be beautifully done with different colors. This would be could be beautifully done with watercolor pencils. These are just regular colored pencils that you can just buy anywhere. These are like the super cheap ones. But basically, I have something this fast that and I'm going to just kind of sloppy color this real quick. This is not, just to get the color on it so I can finish this one up, and we can go and try a couple of other different types. Okay. All right, this is not colored how I would normally color something, but okay, it's done that like that. Now, I think I'm just going to get a black pen. I said black pen, and now there's no one to be found. Here's a black, here's a black, well, I don't want to use that. Hang on, I know what I want to do. Here, I hope I have enough ink left in my Sharpie here. Let's just put neatly up here. We could put in however you want to, flower seeds. Okay, and then maybe over here you want to just draw a circle, and Lord, that's asking a lot for me to draw a circle. I am not very talented, and that's not going to be big enough. Okay, let's just say I just want to do this around. Let's see. This is probably going to be even worse since I traced it. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. There's just my little circle here. I'm playing, and I'm having a good time making my seed packet, and that looks terrible. Going with a thicker marker. Now I've probably made it bleed through onto the back, but that's not the point. The point is that I'm trying to show how these can be done simply. And I want to say that these flower packet way back in the 50s was 10 cents. And there I go. I have my flower packet. Now, that's pretty simple. There are other ways that we can move it up a notch. So let's do the procedure again, and this time we will make it a different size, because I think this one ended up becoming 4 inches by 3 1/8, just like I predicted. Remember, it was 6 1/4, and now it's about a little over 6 1/4, and now it's 3/8 across. 3 3/8, sorry. 4 inches tall. Very cute, right? Okay, so you could stick all kinds of little things in here. And it's already, I thought I had, there we go. I thought I'd already gotten that out of the way. Here we go, we have that. You could do other things. Another thing that you could do would be to use your field guide. And I was originally going to do a video and put the field guide flower on the front with the name and then the description on the back, but I chose not to because I wanted to start from the very floor bottom up with just near to none, next to none, or next to hardly any supplies, just to show how easy it was, like that. Okay, so if you have scrapbooking paper, this would be very beautiful to use also. So I thought about doing that and using this, but I think I'm going to go and do it a little bit simpler. You can do it with obviously you can do it with any piece of paper. But I'm going to go with this piece of coffee dye paper that I have, and this is about medium. I think I dyed this, this is supposed to be like medium dark, or I mean medium, not dark, not dark, not light. How light? All right, how light? It's kind of in the middle between dark and light to me. But, okay, so let's say I want my seed packet to be about, let's see, I want my seed packet to be, all right, I'm going to take this. I want my seed packet to be, and you may not be able to see down this far. Let's see. I want to make my, practically have you aimed in my lap in a second if I don't. Okay, I can't move it up any further. Okay. If you can see that, great. Okay. Let's say that I remember that you want to do twice as much. So twice as much as you want, with a little bit more left over. So I'm going to make mine just a little bit, I think I'm going to make mine a little bit wider this time. So I'm going to go to 6 and a little over 6 1/4, because remember I want to tuck in. So let's just go to 6 1/2. And I know that I want 1/2 inch I want tucked in. So I'm going to mark that little 1/4 inch mark there, and that's how much I know I want to tuck in now. Also, I also don't want this to be 6 inches long. Let me get this little thing off to make it fit. So, just getting that out of the way because I can't get the whole thing in here. So, I said I wanted to decide on my width. So remember I said 6 and a little over 6 1/2. So here's about where I wanted it cut off, and I got a little backed up there. Okay, so hold this down. Okay, so I'm just working on my width right now. So let's just fold this to show you why I did this. I know that I can, if I cover right up into, let me get it a little bit more in the middle. I'm going for middle, okay? So let me slow it down for those who are trying to follow. I want it in the middle. Work with me, please, piece of paper. All right, and I want to get it about in the middle. It doesn't have to be if you don't want it to. And it just is barely starting to cover up that. It goes just enough to cover up that 1/4 inch. Come up either side. Don't even have to have a ball folder. Just make sure that if these are the same at the top, if it cuts straight, then these should be about even at the bottom. Okay, now even. Okay, and see how I have my little bit of this flap has come over, so I have about my 1/4 inch. That way I can not have to worry as much about the glue getting inside of the envelope. Okay, so let's see. Now I have my envelope. Let's double check the, I know I'm a little out of frame. Let's double check the width. Actually, I can do it like this with my ruler here. Let's make sure that I was correct. Yes. Here is, we have it at just a little over 3 inches. It's almost 3 1/4 inches. right here. That's about, so we were pretty darn close and saying that we wanted it. I said I wanted it about 3¼ inches, I believe. So there we go. All right, so let's get on this show on the road. So I'm just gonna kind of zip this up a little bit faster here. You can also do it like this if you want to be a little, don't want to be, and you have like a tool and you don't want to use your scissors. You can do like this. You can decide how much you want your flap to come up. I'm just going to go like, I'm not going to pre-fold it this time. I'm just going to go like this. And then I'm just going to take my pencil in case I want to erase my pencil mark off. And make sure this is okay. And then I'm just going to come across like this. I'm going to open it up. And I know where my marks are, so I'm going to cut to, I'm going to cut here, but right up to my edge. I don't want to cut my edge off though, so I'll let my scissors do the rest. I just wanted to make sure I got it a little bit straighter this time. And also, you back up. Okay, and then I'll do the same over here. This is not really the angle that side that I wanted to put the paper in, but I've got to see my mark, so wow, this is a lot harder to get this through here than it looks. Okay, so got it about, maybe just come down just a little bit, right up to that fold, but not on the fold in case, because I don't want to cut my other part of the seed packet. Okay, so now I can just cut up on the fold. Okay, remember, I'm cut up on the fold, and a little bit more to cut on here because I didn't want to go all the way to the fold and cut too much. You definitely don't want to cut too much. You can always cut more off, but you can't put back what you cut off. I mean, you can if you want to use some tape, and your project will look really wonky, like mine. Some of mine have. But okay, so we are coming up here. And we are going to straight to the edge again. And we have this, okay? Now, remember, here's the part that is going to fold. If this, okay, another way you can check too, is if this part is a little over the line here, like this, you can use your edge to straighten them out. And as long as both of these sides are even, like this, even with here, you're in pretty good shape, okay? So we have that. Now we're going to do the top. So we're going to fold over. Let's see, I don't think I want this one, mine quite this tall. So I'm gonna cut just a little bit off. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. Just keep in mind, you've got to have the flap. It's gonna fold down too. Okay, so I have this, and I'm just gonna make my, I think I want my flap to fold down like this. So I'm going to make sure that the edges, since I've cut that it's straight, the edges are touching each other on either side here. So I know that it's pretty straight. And then I'm going to just kind of trace along my line here just to save time. But my hand, I've had too much caffeine today and it's a little shaky, so I'm not trusting myself to cut a straight line so much. But I'll try. Okay, so I need to go over a little bit because I just really wonkied that line up there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut along the edge. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let me do this first. I think it's a little bit better idea to do it from, I'm going to have to mark this because I cut a little wonky there. Yeah, I want to make sure it's straight because I don't want to have a funky looking sides. Wow, I went that much underneath. I probably could have used a rotary cutter for this. That might have been a better bet, but I don't have that out at the moment, so just going to cut on this line. Trying to cut straight. My hands are not as steadiest, like I said. Okay, let me see. All right, so I have a little bit more sticking out over here on this side. Like I said, I'd rather have a little bit more sticking out, and we can always trim that down. Okay, now here are for the sides. Before you, well, you do want to cut your sides first. Go ahead and do all the sides before you ink it up. That way you're not having to put things back. What was I trying to say? That way you're not having to try to ink, going back and having to re-ink the edges that you've inked, then cut off. Okay, so let's start from the inside. We need our 4mm, so I'm going to do, wait, I didn't even need to do that, did I? No, I meant start with our, in the middle. Okay, that's okay, it didn't mess it up. That part's going to be covered up. All right, so now we have neat insides. Okay, the 7mm on the bottom. Okay, then we're going to open it up and we're going to go down to the 4mm, the little small one. Okay, so we had the medium, we had the mama bear, now we have baby bear working on the inside. Didn't quite. Okay, and then we're going to use 10mm Papa Bear up here. And that does not look exactly, yeah, because I had to fix it up a little bit. So I'm going to make sure that I come and have that straight before I do my lines. Is that, okay, straight enough. Then I'm going to do my top in the 10mm. Okay, so now I have my basic shape. So fold it up. You can fold it up if you want, and that way you can decide where you want to ink your edges inked. And there you have that. Okay, so we have our basic construction. Now I have not glued, and it's better to go ahead and ink before you glue, because the glue can keep your ink from staying on your paper. So I'm going to use that awesome new color that of Distress ink that they put out called Saltwater Taffy. You don't have to have this color, but I already have a flower kind of pre-chosen that I wanted to use. So let's see. I want to make sure I have an orange dauber and I have a pink dauber. I'm just trying to wipe some of this off here a little bit, because I don't really want to use my orange dauber. I'd rather it be more on the pink side than on the... I don't have a saltwater taffy. I mean, I have hundreds of, tons of ink colors, all the ink colors. I don't want to have to worry. I don't have enough to have a dauber for every color, but I'd rather be more on the pink side than have it on my orange dauber. Okay, so I'm going to see what's going to be poking out. Okay, well, this part is going to be showing. So I'm going to ink along here with my saltwater taffy, and I think I want to be a little bit more deliberate about it and do more than just a little inking. I think I want to really go all in and get my sides pretty well. So I'm going to do the front and the back of this one again. So I'm coming through. All right, and I'm coming down. Okay, and I'm doing my little flapperoo here. And I think I'm gonna emphasize this by inking it up a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to do this flap. Now, like I said, let's pretend that we're going to glue this one down, but we still wanted to decorate the top. So we want to have the seed packet look. So what we can do is we can come in here with our glue. So let's try this with our glue again. So I'm going to open it up, because remember I haven't. And I'm going to glue the flap. I'm going to glue this flap that is going to be inside instead of the side that it's going to be covering over it. And I don't want to really, when I'm pushing, I don't want my glue to go inside my envelope, so I'm going to push outwards in the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm pushing my glue out instead of in. Okay, and then I have this. Now, we do the bottom. So I'm going to come around and just do the U shape. I don't have to do this part because I will be wanting, I mean, you know, we're going to be putting stuff in there and all. Okay, now I have the top. And here is my seed packet. Voila. Let's say that I wanted to, well, instead of decorating the back, let's decorate the front. But let's say we have a few more supplies to decorate with than what we had before. So I'm going to take my saltwater taffy and I'm going to do around the front of this as well. Now, this might be a good place where, you know, you have the vintage look with the coffee dye. So you may want to do some very generous inking where it bleeds out kind of a little bit more onto your, by turning your dauber over just a little bit more, over a little bit more instead of up so much. I'm getting a little bit more of in my actual seed packet area, okay, than I would be getting. And I'm doing that on purpose because I'm going to come back with my gathered twigs and I'm just going to barely do the edges just to kind of give it a little bit more of a vintage appeal. And I can't find my my brown dauber because there's so much black coming off even when I'm using a brown ink because this is my black ink dauber. Okay, but I have a little bit of a frame here. I can do this part if I want. I can do the back of it if I want as well, but I don't know where that's driving me crazy because everything is always so organized with me as far as having my things ready, especially for the videos and all. I was not expecting for my brown ink dauber to go hiding on me, but oh well, things happen. So we just keep going. All right, so now that I have this, so we'll have this, and then we have the front. So we want to decorate the front. Let's jazz it up a little bit more. Let's say we want to I have these washi stickers. Oh, this one fell out. This one says use me. Okay, it is a rose color, and that will look nice with our saltwater taffy. Okay, so let's take this little guy off. Okay, I can't stand this anymore. I'm going to look very quickly for my dauber. I'm sorry, I can't stand using this black dauber any longer. Tell you what, I'm not going to waste any more time. I think I have an extra. Oh, it's hiding. I found it. Ta-da! Okay, yay. It was hiding. I found it. Brown dauber, yay, you've come to rescue. All right, so now I'm just going to ink around my washi sticker here a little bit. I'm actually probably just going to ink the whole thing, and I know that this, just to knock some of this white, I know that this is mostly see-through, but I'm just going to knock some of this white off. And then, okay, some people say they have trouble peeling these up. I've just kind of learned to say that as you see me struggle. No, I'm usually pretty good at getting these separated now. Just, let's say that. Okay, I swear, this is the longest it's taken me to do a washi flap. Get a washi sticker off. Some people don't even bother. Gosh, I said that now I can't. Wow. Try from a different side. Usually don't have any trouble getting these little babies started. I don't know. Some people just take the back and there we go. And just glue the whole thing on instead of fiddling with getting the sticker part off. But I'm not going to do that. And I'm also not going to worry about adding extra glue to this either, because I just want to finish this video up. So, okay, so I'm going to put my rose down here. Okay, so I have my rose down. I kind of tried to put it in the center. And let's see, I want to do a few other things, let's say, to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's say if you have a label maker, that is a fabulous tool to have, because you can make whatever you want to say. Or if you don't, it's harder to say, you don't probably have a stamp that says rose, but I have some letter stamps here, and I just want to make this say rose. I think well, those are the letters that I need. Roses. Why do I have an A in there? R-O, can't see. R-O, is that right? R-O, okay, there's, okay, R-O-S-E. And I'm just going to grab my stamp mat. And this little foam mat, it really does make a difference. So I'm going to just kind of put it down about where I want it. And I'm just going to I'm kind of holding them all together at once. Okay, where's my brown ink? So I'm just going to kind of stick them in. You can't really see, can you? Stick them in my ink. I want to make sure, though, I'm going to check each one because I want to make sure that I don't have any, I don't like when the ink goes on to the side of the stamp, and then when you stamp it on the stamping mat and it goes down to give you that perfect little, make sure these are stamped, look that you get the edge of the stamp with the ink on it as well. I hate that. So, all right. So just checking. I want to make sure that each of these have ink on them as well. Okay, we need to get finished up with this video. All right, so I've almost finished with the second one, and then we'll call it a day. So maybe I'm just going to do this one with R. Okay, there's the S and the E and the R. Please hang with me. I'm almost through. I want to see the magic. Okay, I'm going to put all these together now so I can try to get them in a row. You can draw your little grid line out if you want, you know, but I'm just going to kind of go for it. And going down, getting all of them on there. Rose. Okay, that R came down a little bit lower. Okay, so there we are. We have rose, and maybe we want to make it plural. So, because I know that I have, I'm going to have more than just one rose seed in there, I would hope. If not, I got gypped. So I'm going to come back in with roses, and see, this is what happens when you don't check the sides. Wipe the sides off of the stamp. But anyway, this is what we have. So we have this one, and we have, where's the first one? Here's our first one. And here is a regular seed pack. Okay, so I hope you had fun and you make some of these yourself. And as always, if you are looking for vintage items, ephemera, or other things to use in your junk journals, my store is called The Creator's Attic. There is a link to it in the description to this very video. Please visit my store, and if you would like to subscribe, please hit the subscribe bell, and that will, or the subscribe, and it will subscribe and next to the little bell. And then, okay, and now I need to go get some sleep because obviously I'm very tired. So if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. I would love to have new subscribers. And anyway, y'all have a great evening. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.